Today, I wanted to meet up with you to pick up on what we touched on the last time we spoke. So if you haven't listened to that episode, obviously go back and listen to it. But right at the end, you threw a statement in there, and literally, I went, "Excuse me." You said something along the lines of, "As girls or women, the way in which we're groomed around money is not necessarily." You didn't say this bit, but this is what you're alluding to, is not necessarily the most abundant or helpful sometimes when it actually comes to wealth and money.
Hmm.
And in any type of healing work that we do, like that aspect of looking back and going like, oh, how did I come up with this? Where did this come from? Is so important going forward. But I think we just need to like uncover this. So like how were you groomed around money? I mean, you ended up being an accountant, but how so was money like something that you were taught? Why did you become an accountant?
Yeah, like I think the first thing I don't know if it was a country town thing. I grew up in a small country town and we were given, I don't know if it was Dolomite, if that's what it's now, Dolomites. It was Dolomites when I was young, which was a long
Yeah,
time
we're showing our age. Dolomite account from
as
Commonwealth
a
Bank.
Dolomite account.
Yeah.
So I know my parents, I've got three brothers, so we were all given our own, it was like a checkbook or like a
Yeah.
deposit book.
Yeah, deposit
And
book.
you
Yeah.
had it
Yeah. You weren't
essentially
writing checks
your
to old mate down at the
coin.
bowling alley to go. Like it was
Carry on to my money when I was a little kid in primary school. But yeah, so when we got pocket money or gifts for Christmas, birthdays, we were encouraged, I think, to put that to start our bank account. So depositing money. So you got to put it in, yeah, go through that experience. So that was something early on that we were taught by our parents. I have been good at maths. I always won the maths challenge, especially a times table challenge at school.
that's
So I've
such a
always loved numbers. I love problem solving, like
oh yeah.
the problem solving of numbers.
No,
Uh,
do you know, I like the reliability around it. Like one plus one's always going to equal one.
I think I also just like winning. And I like
Yeah.
competition. So when you're
Yeah.
doing times table competitions and you had to line up with two people, like I don't like
Uh,
to lose. So that probably played a bit of a part into it as well. But yeah, so I think why I went into accounting, I was actually going to be a doctor. I was going to be a pediatrician
I
up
never
until
knew that about you.
year
Really?
12.
Okay.
Yeah, I was doing all the subjects. I always loved helping people and I loved kids. So I thought, well, that's a good combination.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I love people and I love helping kids. I know what I'll be, a pediatrician.
I
Most
love
people,
helping people and I love kids.
yeah, but like pediatrician's a big jump. You could have been like me and gone, I'll be a teacher.
Yeah, no,
That's,
I just
love
wanted
it. High
the
achieving.
money was kind of a driving. There was also as to what I'm gonna do. But anyway, I got to the day before year 12 and there was a few things that led. I'd gone and done work experience actually in a corporation just to see, and I'd always done work. My dad's an accountant, and so I did work for him as well, just admin side. But yeah, I was always thinking doctor, but I hate blood. I'm not a fan of it. And if someone hurts themselves, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to look because I'm like, I can't. And so, and then mum's like, you know that the children are going to be sick
Mm,
and they're not all ones that you can't help them all.
mm.
How are you going to be able to deal with that? And I was like, okay, maybe this isn't the ideal occupation for myself. So I was then like, and at the time it was actually moving maybe a lawyer, business law. I loved Ally McBeal and those legal shows. And I thought was like, maybe that's the path. Anyway, I just knew business, accounting. Everybody needs to know the numbers. Money's so important. It's a foundation. And so I thought, let's start there. I'm great at maths. I do love money, budgeting. So that's kind of what led me. I don't think I ever wanted to be an accountant forever. It was just the foundation for me to get that. And that was going to sort of be there'll be stepping stones after that. But that's what led to the accounting.
So when you say like you love money, talk to me. What do you mean you love money? I didn't even think about money when I was younger.
I think for me, it was always like I loved the independence. I loved being able to buy what I wanted when
Yeah.
I wanted it. Yeah, but I think just that freedom, that independence of knowing I had money to do with what I wanted to do. So where it came from, my mum's always, she's worked, she's had her own businesses, she's been really successful. So I think obviously that's played a part in how I've then come to want to have the money and sort of thing. But in saying that, she never really spoke about money. Like she earned her own money and did all that. But dad managed the money and sort of dealt with the finances, which I think a lot of the male partners do in relationships. So that was the same. But mum was very successful and ambitious with what she did. And so I guess I saw her doing that. And so that's obviously played a part in it. But yeah, I don't know. I've loved money, and I think where it's because it wasn't a big thing that we spoke about,
Mm.
but yeah, this love for money
Yeah,
and what I think it could allow you to do, what
yeah,
you could, the choices. And I think I saw the opportunities that we were given as a result of mum and dad
yeah,
working hard and
yeah,
having money.
for sure.
Yeah.
Earning didn't ever come into my mind when I chose my career.
Oh, yeah, no, it was a bit of a factor.
Yeah, but isn't that interesting though? Like, but that somehow the environment that you were in, or
Yeah.
this just the type of personality that you are.
Because it's funny, like I remember when you got your what did they call it when we were in high school?
TR.
Yeah. And I remember the Ducks of our school got 99.95 and she chose teaching.
Did
And
she?
I
What an
was
idiot.
like, of all the things you could do, yeah, I was like,
Just
you
kidding.
could
Not an
choose
idiot.
whatever you wanted to.
Mm,
I mean, obviously the subjects you did, you can't go choose everything because you have to have certain prerequisites. But and I was like, and for me, it was kind of like, why would you not choose to do a different career that with like, and it was focused around more
mm.
so the money side. And I'm doing teaching. And I was like, later on, and then I got it. I was like, wow, you knew, like you were just, that's exactly what you wanted to do. And it wasn't for that you could have earned more money in a different career. That was what you wanted to do. And she's an amazing teacher. And so, yeah, that kind of made me realize with the money, not everybody thought the same way that I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't think that people don't think the same way because I definitely didn't think that way. For me, it was more like that looks good. And then 2 weeks into university, where I went to uni, they actually put you in prac straight away. So they chuck you into a classroom so you can actually see what you've signed up for. And a lot of people at that point drop out because they realize teaching wasn't what they thought it might be, which is such a great approach. And literally walking to that classroom, I was like, this is it. And so for me, work has always been more vocation based than it has been financial based.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying one is better than the other because obviously, like, my mum has said to me a lot over the years, oh, you would have been a great. And I think that like she's saying it because like, gosh, like the earning potential, like I knew from day one what I would earn for the rest of my career. Like you go up the ladder and then you hit that top point, and then even if you're in leadership like I was, there's your point, and it will go up like some percentage every year or whatever. But like I knew and what I'd be earning. And there was no capacity to earn more because you were really good at what you did, or like there were no bonuses because, and like rightly so, I think. So for me, it was never money motivated. And then coming into this career again, like there is zero money plan in it, other than I just like honestly in my head, I just thought, oh my gosh, like I just want to earn the same as I was earning teaching. Like if I could do that, that would be amazing. It turned out that it was different from that. But yeah, it was always vocation based with me first and foremost. So I don't think I ever really thought about money very much growing up. But I think the contrast perhaps was like I didn't have brothers, so it was just us girls, and it was very much like my dad's an accountant too. And so like the privilege that we had because of, his hard work, it was just very much expected that we would go to university and that we would get careers. And my
Mm.
mum like was so passionate about that. I'm so grateful for that. And I was saying this to my sister the other day. I was like, how cool that we have a mum that wanted for us what she didn't have for herself. Like, because she didn't go to university, and I think she would have loved to. My mum would have loved to, like she said it a couple of times, be a nurse. Just different times and different circumstances. And it was like so cool that like she really pushed us to be and had this expectation of us that she wasn't given from her parents. And as a result, we've lived completely different lives to my mom. And I just think that's so gnarly. That's really brave and really wise, I think.
Yeah. That
Um,
is a gift.
yeah, we're really lucky. Unfortunately, I squandered that on a teaching career, but I loved it. I don't
Thing is,
regret
I
it.
was
I
gonna
don't regret it.
say,
I'm just joking, but
when it comes to it's not I think it doesn't always come down to how much you earn, it's what you do with your money. Because there's a lot of people who are on an income that isn't as much as other people, but they are wealthier. So I think it's really important, it's not so much how much you earn, it's what you're actually doing with your money that makes a difference. And so, and that was something I guess I started to learn later on, that having that ability to be able to choose something because it's aligned with what you truly want and that you love doing it, I think the money comes in, or you have enough money as a result of doing that. And it's whether that's from receiving how much money, but also it's what you're doing with that money.
yeah, for sure. If you just heard my coughing fit, I'm really sorry.
I was like, God,
Natalie's looking at me down the
Julie,
camera
stop.
going, what is wrong?
Are you okay? Do I keep talking? So if
Ah,
I sounded a little bit, what is she? Does she know what she's saying? She's a bit over the place because I thought you were dying.
sorry,
Like,
I'm back from I shouldn't have joked that we dressed like we're going to a funeral because I was fighting for my life there too, but here we're back.
we're here, you're alive.
We're all good. We are all good.
But yeah, and so it's not so much how much you earn, it's what you do with it because you can still earn a lot and grow your wealth.
Yeah.
You've just, yeah, be smart. So, um, yeah.
Did you notice any like differences in terms of the way maybe your brothers were groomed about money or the way you were groomed about money, or even with like friends in terms of that male female approach to money and responsibility around money? Because like we have obviously come from families that the male was the one overseeing or organizing the money. Like,
Yeah. I don't, yeah, like I don't think I was treated in that sort of aspect differently to my brothers. Like my parents and have always said like you can do whatever it is you want. Like put in your best, try your hardest, and you can go and achieve whatever it is that you want in life. And yeah, just thinking, I mean, the only thing would have been is that I knew dad looked after the finances, which also made sense because he's the taxation accountant. From that perspective, you just sort of thought, but then mum also had her own like income from her own businesses and jobs. So yeah, that was probably the only difference is that mum earned it, but dad managed and made probably the financial. I think they both sort of did the decisions, but dad, that was his domain. And then as far as my brother, like we both got this, we all got the Dolomites
mm.
checkbook and we all had jobs at St. Like all of us got jobs. As soon as we could get a job, we got jobs. But yeah, the thing that I noticed was the difference though in how easy things are for males than it is for females is
Ooh,
probably
controversial. Talk to me. What do you
what I noticed. Um, Even just how, my brothers would show up or they would act compared to how I would in certain situations, the confidence that they would have. And I had no reason to be less confident, but I wouldn't show up as confident as they would. Into the point where we were all really great at sport. And so going back, when if you go back and play in the country afterwards, women don't get paid generally. You go back for the love of it. Like the boys were earning quite a fair bit of money for just rocking up to play a game of sport. Yes, they were really great at what they did, but so was I and other women at sport. And it's kind of just, yeah, there was just differences in that perspective that no different. And a lot of the women that would go back would have to train twice a week and play and got nothing. And then guys can rock up on the day and get paid like $1,000, $2,000 per game.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that is just at a local sporting level. We know pay discrepancies still
Mhm.
exist, and like the wage gap is a real thing. It was interesting. Like, I mean, he's only young, but even my nephew said that's made up, and I'm like, no, it's not. Like it's still happening, and to make like people aware of that. So, in all that, like, where do you think then, generally speaking? Just as a social commentary or observation, women are at with how we're groomed around money, like women in their 30s and 40s, maybe 50s listening to this, because a lot of, our clients, find themselves in positions where they're for the first time single and they're divorced and now they're having to manage money, make money, and then ultimately look towards their future in terms of their retirement and be responsible for that. I mean, I've been listening to a lot of stats. Someone shared some stats the other day. I'm going to get them wrong, so just go with me on this. This just the vibe, just the general gist of this stat. This when I say stuff like that, Natalie cringes because she's so like methodical and like she loves the detail, whereas I'm just more generalized.
I think I made
Um,
up percentages in the last one, so
did
you're
you? Okay, all right, there you go. You
they're
just
quite similar, but I'm definitely not there. But
but it was basically like this person was talking about the big transfer of wealth that's about to happen because as the population ages that has most of the wealth
mm,
and women outlive men. So
mm,
we're going to be in control of a lot of money over the next decade, which is, we think that's great because women will hopefully make better choices with it. Age of Aquarius, but also projecting about what it's going to look like in 10 years' time, something like a ridiculous, well, not ridiculous, but a huge percentage, like more than 50%. I think it was 56 off the top of my head. It was from a financial conference they were having in Europe, Germany, I think. 56% of women are going to be single, childless, working.
what
Um,
about 43? Yeah, yeah, I've seen something around 43. I think it was an American study.
Oh, there you go. Like it's huge. And then basically summarizing from that, this economist was saying like, that whole a man's gonna come or there is that shared finances and the idea of like singledom isn't a bad thing for women because studies will show that we are much happier that way. Sorry, men, but you're a bit of a drainer. But in order to do this, like there is differences in the way we need to approach money. So I don't even know what my question was because now I've gone on with my pseudo stats there, but it's like how are we groomed? Like what are you seeing of women of our age? Just for reference, we're in our 40s, but for women our age, what are you seeing?
Well, I think, you know, early on and even now, like the media, for women, it's all about we shop, we spend money.
Mhm.
They're telling us to cut back on our coffees. Whereas men, it's all about investing and it's about growth and it's building wealth. Whereas for women, it's saving and, you spend too much, you shop too much. And so, and there's the other thing, like I was very fortunate to have parents that were really supportive. and have said like you can go and do and achieve whatever it is that you want. But, a lot of women are groomed to not believe that they can have a success and wealth on their own terms. And so, and you're not great with numbers. It's the man's job. You're not great with money. And so these are sort of the truths that women are continually carrying on throughout their life as being true for them. And we don't stop to take the time to go, well, is that actually my truth?
Mm.
Is that true for me? And, is that what I want my truth to be? Like, what can I
Yeah.
do to change it and to take back that power? Because, so many women are afraid of money, afraid of finances, afraid of numbers, and will use the excuse, I'm not great at maths. It's not my thing. It's boring. I'm a creative. And it's understanding why are we making those excuses? Because at the end of the day, you're not afraid of your ability. Sorry, you're not afraid of money. You're afraid of your ability. It's that fear and self-doubt as to can I do it? And it's also, if you're looking deeper, it also comes down to the being afraid of how powerful you will become when you choose to step up and take responsibility for your finances, and also the responsibility that comes with that. And with that comes the place where you put yourself in position where you might fail. People might judge you. Things might not go your way. And there's a lot of uncertainty and unknown about that. And so there's a lot of reasons for why it's easier to stay where you're at and to stay ignorant when it comes to money. But the quickest way to give away your power is to mishandle and neglect and not manage your money. And so, it's why I love doing the work, because there is so much power. Again, like I've said, it's not so much the external. That's amazing because we want to have the lifestyle we want to live, the money to do it, but it's what it requires you to do internally to be able to step up into that place and to, break the rules, rewrite your truth. Because there's research that comes out and shows women are actually better with money than men. Despite what society is telling us, research proves that women are better with money. We make better decisions. We're more for the long term. We're not short term. We're willing to hold on to it. And so when it comes to investments and things like that. So it's about coming back and going, what's my truth? Do I want that to be my truth? And if not, what do I need to do to change it?
This is something I really want to work on this year because I think I have so much learnt helplessness
Mm,
around money. And what you just said then about like taking responsibility, like
mm.
for the money, understanding how mortgages work, stock market works, investments work, stuff like that. I just cringe and I'd be like, ugh, I don't want to know, but I need to change that because
Mm.
regardless of my relationship, regardless of what, what we decide in the future or whatever, I'm still going to have to be at least 50% responsible for that, if not 100% responsible, because, anything can kind of happen.
And it's
So,
not even like I have to be, it's I want to be. I
well,
choose to
yeah,
be.
but I'm sitting in I have to be. And
Yeah.
that's what I
And so
want to
it's,
transform into choosing to be.
yeah, because that's taking back your power. And I think, the whole Prince Charming, we're all waiting to be saved for someone to come and do it, because that would be easier.
Do you know what something really inspired me this week, which has got me thinking about this. And I'm going to share this, and I don't know the person's name. So for that, I'm sorry, but also they've shared it on TikTok. So it's there, it's in the public domain. But there's this couple I used to follow and then I stopped following her because she got a bit annoying. But she was a young mum and she has these twin boys, and her husband obviously had a really good job. They had an apartment in Sydney and they decided to move up to Byron Bay. So they were
Mm.
renting homes in Byron Bay, like just to see if, it suited them and the lifestyle and the family. And the husband was like commuting back during the week. And she's actually a really good TikToker. Like she puts together really good videos. But he came up on my For You page, the husband, and he actually had this really detailed video just yesterday. I watched it actually about how he lost his job. He said, after 10 years, I lost my job. And so as a result of that, we're having to sell our Sydney apartment. We're packing up this home that my wife has created a home. We're moving in with my mum. And basically they're starting from scratch. And I felt obviously like bad for them, but I also felt like men aren't infallible with money either. And I think that that challenged maybe some grooming in me. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, he had a really good, I think he worked in finance. Like he seemed to have a really good job. They were renting expensive property.
Serious. I know who you're talking
Did you
because
see that too?
I saw a video and she did say that they were enjoying the income that was coming through. They were living, I don't know if it was beyond their means, but they were definitely not being smart financially in the sense of a situation like this arising. Were they going
Yeah.
to be able to move through it? Which is so common. And I
Yeah,
think we
so
get stuck in
common.
this success trap where when our income increases, so does our lifestyle. And so we get
Yeah.
stuck on the hamster wheel because we're continually having to work to fund our lifestyle instead of using our money to help grow our wealth so we can stop working and our money starts working for us. But because we're all, and this is when I was saying in the last one, when, achievement's there, but the alignment's not. And because why are we feeling like we need to have a lifestyle that matches our income? Why are we having to keep up with the Joneses? And, if you have a look and take stock of your current lifestyle and what's in your life, how much do you really love about it? How much brings you meaning and joy to it? And how much do you have because it's keeping up appearances? Or you feel that that's defining how rich or successful or wealthy you are.
Yeah. I
So,
really admired that video that he made. I didn't see hers, but I'm like, good on them. Like, I have so much admiration for vulnerability and honesty. And I
yeah,
think that we don't, like, not many influencers would put that out there. I mean, I don't know if she is an influencer, but I would imagine she's making money off of her great TikTok following. Um,
yeah,
I don't think you can make it off TikTok. Maybe she's making it off Instagram, but like, good on them. And then to see this man talk about money with vulnerability
mm,
was so
yeah,
inspiring to me. And something clicked in me where I was like, yeah, like we're all in this together. They're not infallible just because they're men. And
yeah,
obviously, I knew it was scary for them too. And then having to like start from scratch, I was like,
yeah,
this is cool. Like, I need to follow these guys now because I want them to win. Like, I want to learn alongside them as well
yeah,
as
and
they build it up, you know?
yeah, yeah. And I think it's important to, and also you can learn from other people's stories and if they're willing to share because it just shows how important it is to be on top of your finances. Because when things are good, they're good.
Yeah.
But, COVID's taught us we can't control a lot of external things. He lost his job. Your jobs aren't guaranteed.
Mm.
There's not a lot of things that are guaranteed in this world. So it's about leveraging your income and making sure that you've got money put aside for an OMG account. Things like this happen, you know that you're covered for a certain period of time. You know that you're putting money aside to build your wealth and you're getting really clear. So the quicker you can start taking responsibility for this, you're safeguarding yourself against circumstances or things that might happen outside your control. You're giving yourself breathing space so that you can then move on to the next thing or you can find a way. But, sometimes it takes shit hitting the fan for you to
Yeah.
realize how important it is. Like I think she commented about that in one of her videos. And, if you can avoid that having to happen and you can be prepared now and be proactive, not reactive. And it not only means for those circumstances when they happen, but it just means you're going to have so much less stress in your life,
Yeah.
knowing that you've got this. And it also puts you in a great place for abundance because when you know you've got money sitting there in case something happens, you're able to enjoy your life a whole lot more, take risks, calculated risks, not silly risks, to go and do things because you've got that safety net.
Like
So,
in my head, cognitively, I totally get that. And that's why I work with you because the internal resistance to it, the deprogramming, the reprogramming around falling in love with that and being authentically aligned passionately with those ideas that I understand in my head are practical logically and are really empowering if you're able to do it. And so it's not like it's not the thing, it's the, like you say, it's what's beneath it. And I think part of that grooming is like you touched on before, societal grooming. So regardless of your family grooming is like a whole big one. But then there's the society stuff. So let's talk about let's talk about your favorite phrase. Can I like chuck it at you? Girl math. As we know here, I love taking phrases and like completely dismantling them. So the floor is yours. Girl math. How do you feel about that? We can imagine.
do you not love it? I think it's just really disempowering to women. Like
Mm,
it's kind of just taking the piss out of us.
yeah.
Like it's just saying we're stupid. Like we don't know money and we have to make it gimmicky. And we use that as a way to cover up what we do with our money. Like women are smart. We have the ability to make smart financial decisions. And by feeding into girl math, I think you're just giving all your power away because we're better than that. We're smarter than that. We can choose how to spend our money. We don't have to justify. Like that was the big other part of it is justifying cost per wear, I think it is, which, I like, I'm all about quality. And so you want to make sure you're going to wear your outfits that time. But, if I want something and it's aligned with my vision and where I'm going and it's not like it's something I truly want, I don't have to justify via girl math why I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it because I want it, because I've got the money to buy it. But that's where the conversation ends. I don't need to go and think of all the reasons for why I should buy it or to make, whether it's to myself, but justify it to other people. Like, why do women have to justify what we do with our money? Do you ever see a man go into a shop and go, oh, how many times am I going to wear this jacket? I'm going to break down the cost. Like,
Yeah.
they're not going to go do that.
And
Men
and
aren't
they're
going to
celebrated
do,
for buying the car and the boat, and they're celebrated for these purchases that women don't make. Like, when was the last time you went out and dropped 150K on a car? Like,
I know. Like it just, I mean, yeah, I'm not a fan. I think women need to stop saying it because the more we keep saying it, we keep feeding into the story that we're not good with money. We can't make smart financial decisions. We have to turn it into a gimmicky game. And that's just holding you back and keeping you in that place of not taking responsibility and ownership for your money. Because you can go buy what you work for your money. You go out and put your time and energy into it. You choose where you want to spend your money, and that's the end of the conversation. Just go do it and enjoy it. Enjoy the process of having the money to go buy the thing you want and then enjoy it. Obviously, making sure it's in your plan and all that sort of thing,
yeah.
but be done with it and
Yeah.
then go spend your time and things doing something else. But I think, yeah, just and again, it's girl, like, what it's done? It's a marketing
Mm,
ploy because women go spend more money because they're like, oh, well, and this is where afterpay and all those things get a little dangerous because you end up spending a lot more than what you would have because you're like, okay, well, I can get this for $10. But I don't even know what they do. Is it for payments? I've never used it. So, but 10. So I've got it. Well, I'm going to go buy more because that's only $20 a fortnight I'm paying. I could probably do 100. So I'm going to go spend $600 and I can easily afford that. But you didn't actually need the $600 of things that you bought, but you're breaking it down into girl mass. Well, that's only 150 if it's over 4 payments. And we just get caught in this vicious cycle. And then you don't have money available to do things you want to do because you're getting caught up in these things. So I think we as women, as a collective, it's up to us individually and then as a collective to do the change because no one else is going to do it for us. And so each individual one of us has a responsibility to step up and take responsibility for our finances.
Do you know what's really interesting? As you're talking then, I was thinking about how you and I often talk about masculine and feminine energy. And
Mm.
especially like when it comes into our interpersonal romantic relationships. And what I think is really interesting is that the reason why we're having these conversations around masculine and feminine energy in relationships is because women had to be in their masculine in order to be in workplaces, right? And so we're forgetting what feminine energy is, and then it's this weird combination between the male and the female in these types of relationships. And so we've done a lot of exploring around that. So isn't it interesting that we kind of push forward in our careers, adopt this masculine inverted commas energy and bring that into our romantic relationships, but we're not bringing the masculine energy into our money? Like, how come it didn't transfer the other way? We're still staying helpless in that.
Well, I think it's yeah, because if you look at like for a feminine, like a woman going into a relationship and you're in your masculine energy, you're most likely attracting men that are more in their feminine energy. And so you end up doing everything in the relationship because you're fully in your masculine energy. And when it comes to, so it's sort of not working anyway. And I think the same thing is when it comes to finances, for me, the masculine energy, I don't know if this makes sense, but when it comes to finances, I think you need to have a balance of masculine and feminine energy. And for me, the masculine energy is our strategy, it's our plan, it's understanding the financial literacy, our bank account set up, knowing how to set up a bank account, understanding our numbers. The feminine part is comes back to that inner work. So it's about us showing up as our wealthiest self, having the vision so that our financial plan is aligned with our vision. And the more we have the masculine energy in the framework, it allows us to be in our feminine energy. It allows us to thrive because when we're in our feminine energy, we're connected to our wisdom, our intuition, our creativity, our true self. And that's when we're in alignment. And that's when we feel really good. And we feel safe to be that because we know our money's being looked after. There's a place, a healthy environment for our money to thrive in. So all we're now worried about is showing up as our best self, putting ourselves out there, using our voice, taking aligned action, living our purpose. And that's where, in a relationship, we need to do the same. So if you're with a male partner, allow them to be in their masculine so you can be in your feminine. But it's tricky because I was in corporate for a good 10 years and very much in my masculine, and that's how I achieved a lot of my success. And I spoke about before, like my success became because that was what we saw the power. It was the masculine face of power was the hustle, the drive, the go, 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 the doing, not time to be, you don't rest. You got to go. Like busyness is a badge of honor. You wear busyness as a badge of honor. And it was really hard to, through my work, I realized, because for me, I always thought feminine energy was showing up all girly, like wearing nice dresses, getting your nails, your hair done. And I was like, I'm feminine. And I was like, that's the nice part of it. But it's actually coming back in, showing up as your true self, like doing that deep work. It's the inner trust, the self-trust, the belief, the worth, the value and showing up in that's where our feminine energy and that's what we need to come in because whether that's money or relationship, you need the balance, I feel, in both areas of the masculine and the feminine. So relationship, male's more of the masculine, you're more of the feminine, but in your money you've got your feminine, because even in a relationship, I think it's important, even if your partner handles the finances, that you still play a really proactive part in it.
Mm.
You make financial decisions together. You have a weekly meeting, so you know what's happening with the money and where it's going. It's still a very joint partnership. they might do the physical actions, but you're very much a part of the plan, the strategy, and you're on top of it when you come in. But I don't know if that answered the question,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, I love it. You're like, oh, I don't know if this will make sense. And it's like you could not have put it more perfectly. And I think this is why, like, I mean, I don't really have to justify my decision to you guys, but I think this is why you realize I got Natalie on board um, as a money mentor onto a what is essentially an energetic, spiritual based business. It's because it is so freaking important. I almost feel like the seesaw of life is really imbalanced on the Light Path Collective because you've got all of us doing like that inner nurturing stuff, and then you got Natalie doing both of it on the other side in terms of the importance of it. So you're getting your bang for your buck when you work with her, because there is that approach. Like you just don't like look at the masculine side of it and the pragmatic side of it. You're looking at the deeper work because you're right. Like you can't have one without the other when it comes to money. And if we are empowered, we have to be on top of it for ourselves. No one can do this for us. It's like no one can overcome our inner stuff for us. We have to do this. So no, I think that you stated it perfectly. And I think that that is the perfect place to leave this conversation, to just bring awareness to our grooming as women around money and to challenge those historical and pop culture societal norms as we create them and to
Mm.
not buy into them.
Yeah, and don't let that determine your earning potential because you have the ability and the power within you. And if you have a dream, it's because you can already see it. It's already within you. But that's why the inner work of money has to come into it because you've got to step into your personal power to reach your earning potential in order to be able to generate that wealth. And so for me, I want people to have wealth. I want people to have financial well-being, to be able to have choice. Like that's a massive thing for me. I want you to have the choices. I don't want you not to be able to do something because financially you don't have the means to do it. But what excites me most is the person you become, that you get to become that person. Because I think for a lot of us, deep down, we know there's so much more in us. And that's the power of money as well, because it allows you to find and bring that to light. So I'm a little obsessed with it, but I just know how powerful it all is. So
Love it. Well, you know where to reach out to Nat. Her link is in the show notes below, but you see her every Friday for Finance Friday tips on our socials. And as I said, if there's anything that you want her to discuss or touch upon or explain, reach out via the collective. I will shoot the message over to her. But as always, thank you.
thank you.